In the heart of Providence, where dreams take flight, voices rise, a chorus of the night. We gather around with hearts full of hope to build a future where we all can cope. Let's listen deep to each other's plea, finding common ground. We'll never be free without understanding. Our voices fade. Together we can change what we've been made. Show the talk in the right direction. Guide the path with kindness and clarity. With every word, let's make a better nation. Let's build bridges, not just walls of division. Through the streets and alleys, let's walk in peace. Hand in hand, we'll make a difference. Believe from the city hall to every home. Our voice is strong, we'll turn the tide. In the morning light, let's start anew. With open minds, let's break through. No more hate, no more fear. Together we're stronger, clearer. Let's hear the whispers of the wise, guiding us towards the skies. With every vote, set the pace for a world where everyone can embrace. Show the talk in the right direction. Guide the path with kindness and clarity.
Welcome to the English for Providence Voters Show. My name is Mike English. I'm a candidate for Providence Mayor 2026 and also your host. Today we're going to be talking about panhandling, homelessness, also the public health and public safety, a balanced path forward for Providence. Again, I'm Mike English, and I'll be your host for today. And we're talking about something that hits people right in the daily life of our city. How Providence balances panhandling, homelessness, and public safety. This is one of those issues where people feel like they're being forced to pick a side. Either you care about the unhoused, or you care about public order. Either you protect free speech, or you protect the families and businesses in the community. And I'm here to tell you that's a false choice. You can be compassionate and enforce rules that keep residents safe. You can support services for people who need help and protect the public's ability to walk downtown without any fear. Drive through intersections without hazards. And enjoy parks without stepping around trash, human waste, or drug paraphernalia. And I want to frame it today in a way that's bigger than politics or emotions. I want to frame it in terms of what every resident understands. Public health matters. Public safety matters. Our community matters. Our rights matter for every individual person in Rhode Island, or should I say in Providence. And I'm going to start with a lesson from history, because Providence has been around a long time, and human beings have a short memory. History shows us what happens when cities ignore situations in public order. So let's go there. When people hear the words cholera, they think an old disease somewhere far away, something from another century. But cholera is a real reminder of what can happen when sanitation breaks down. Cholera is a bacterial disease that spreads through contaminated water and food, and it thrives in conditions where sewage and clean water mix, where sanitations and hygiene systems fail. Now, Providence in the 1800s wasn't Providence today. There weren't modern plumbing systems like we take for granted. There weren't the same sewer and water treatment standards. Cities were growing faster, immigrations were coming in, and overcrowding was common. And public health systems weren't prepared. In the 1800s, cholera was not a small problem. It was a mass death event in multiple waves around the world. In Great Britain, during 1848 to 1849 outbreak, tens of thousands died, and in London alone, an outbreak claimed well over 10,000 lives. Now, in the United States, cholera was, in the 1980s, declining only after modern water and sewage treatment systems became widespread. And if you want a sobering number, historical estimates suggest more than 150,000 people died in the United States across the cholera pandemic associated with the 1832 to 1849. Here's a concrete example people can picture. In New York City in 1832, cholera epidemic, about 3,500 people died. And what's the point of history lesson? The point is not to scare people with some cholera is coming theory. It's nonsense. We are not living in 1949. We have a modern medicine. We have sanitation systems that are up to date. But here's the parallel. Public cleanliness and sanitations are not optional in city life. They're not nice to have. They are a foundation of our health system and our need for a healthy environment. Even today, cholera risk is highest where there's unsafe drinking water, poor sanitation, and inadequate hygiene. So when a city allows conditions where human waste accumulates in public spaces, trash piles up, needles and biohazards appears, hand washing access is limited, and people are forced to live outdoors for long stretches, we are inviting preventable problems, not just one disease, a whole category of health and safety problems. That's why a serious city takes sanitation seriously. Public bathrooms, hygiene access, regular cleanups, outreach teams, and rules that keep public spaces functional. not dangerous. Compassion doesn't mean pretending these issues are harmless. Compassion means dealing with reality and building a system that protects everyone. Now let's shift from public health to something very different. Every parent understands immediately: safety in the streets. Let's talk about the streets. Because Providence is not only a slippery town, it's a working city. It has commuters, delivery trucks, buses, rideshare drivers, tourists, students, and families. When panhandling happens in the roadway, when people stand on mediums, when people approach cars at intersections, that's not just uncomfortable. That can become dangerous, both for the panhandler and the motorist. And this is important. You can hold compassion for someone's situation and still say clearly, the roadway is not a place for a person to stand. The medium is not a place for a person to stand. And the travel lane is not the place for a person to stand. Under Rhode Island laws, there were restrictions related to roadway solicitations. Soliciting in a travel lane without a municipal permit is prohibited. That matters because roadways are engineered for vehicles. Reaction time, predictable movement, not unpredictable foot traffic between bumpers. And here's what people experience in real life. You're stopped at a red light. Someone steps out towards your driver's side window. You freeze for a second. Do you unlock your doors? Do you roll down the window? Do you look away? Your heart rate goes up. You don't know the person's state of mind. You don't know if the next thing is a request, an argument, or a slap on the window, or something other than. Now, not every panhandler is aggressive. I understand that. But the public is not crazy for feeling uneasy. Those are real feelings, especially when mental health and instability is visible, present in some of those circumstances. I want to say this right away. Having anxiety in that moment is rational. Feeling alarmed is rational, especially for a young woman or a teenager, maybe even an elderly resident. You hear those stories going around all around the world. People with trauma in their history, parents with kids in the back seat, visitors who don't know the area and don't know why this person is coming up to them. And the same goes on the sidewalk. If someone's rushing you, closes distance, follows you, shouts, even if you never touch you, your body reads it is as a threat. That's not politics. That's human biology. Here's what happens next. People stop going places. They don't walk down certain blocks. They don't take their kids to certain parks. They avoid certain intersections. They tell visitors, don't go there. And then those areas decline even more. So what should a city do? Well, a responsible city draws a line between passive asking, as they say is free speech, and dangerous behavior of conduct. A city can't and shouldn't criminalize poverty, but a city can regulate time, places, and manner in public spaces, as long as it's done lawfully and across the board. And if you're following Providence history, you know this debate isn't new. Back in 2016, Providence moved away from enforcing anti-panhandling ordinance after ACLU concerns in the city's decision to halt enforcement. The ACL didn't win. The ACLU did not win. Remember that. We gave up the fight. So here's the key. We need rules that forces and focuses on safety, not punishment for being poor. Not approaching a vehicle in an act of traveling is dangerous and should not be allowed. No standing in dangerous mediums as well. No harassment or intimidation or blocking sidewalks. No camping that creates sanitation hazards, and a rapid connection to services when a person's in crisis. Which brings us to the next piece. Once safety declines, the economy declines as well. And Providence cannot afford to pretend otherwise. Let's talk about the economy. Because sometimes people act like the economy is some abstract scoreboard. It's not. The economy is. Whether your neighbor's shop stays open, whether your kid can get a part-time job in the local area, whether we can keep property taxes from constantly rising, whether downtown feels like a place people want to spend time and their money. When visible disorder grows, business feels it. Event organizers feel it, and tourists feel it. If you're ever planning a family outing, a festival, a water fire, a restaurant trip, a show, you know the vibe. Matters. People will not drive right through a city and spend their money elsewhere if they feel unsafe, harassed, unsettled, or like the city has given up on safety. And this is where I want to be very direct. Residents and business owners also have rights. They have the right to operate without constant disruption. They have a right to have their door not be blocked by a homeless person. They have, let me go back to that. The person at the door is sleeping and been sleeping for the whole night and blocking the front door of the business occupant, like I saw at a Burger King, where the operators could not open that door without disturbing the homeless person, not knowing their mental status. Now let's go back to my other situations of outlining this, and that's they have the right to invite their customers into a welcoming environment. They have the right to enjoy streets and parks without fear. If you're a small business owner and your customer won't come because they don't want to be approached or feel unsafe, that isn't privilege. That's real harm. And beyond money, it hurts social life. Because when people don't feel safe, they stop interacting. They stop gathering. They stop building communities. And everything gets colder. So what's the balanced message? It's this. We can treat the unhoused as human beings without normalizing the condition that keeps them suffering in public areas. We can expand services without turning public spaces into unmanaged encampments. We can protect free speech without allowing roadway hazards and intimidation to other citizens in the community. That brings us to the hardest part: the rights, the responsibilities, and the law, and how a city can respect the Constitution while still protecting the public. This is where people get loud, because it touches identity and morality. Some will say panhandlers should have free speech. Others say panhandling is harassment to the rest of the community. The truth is, it can be either, depending on the behavior. And the law has to navigate that. In general, courts have treated panhandling and solicitations as protected expression activity in many contents. But cities can regulate it through content like time, place, and manner rules, and can outlaw threatening or intimidating conduct. The problem is when a city writes sloppy rules or don't enforce the regular rules that target who is speaking or what they're asking for. Those laws get challenged and often struck down, especially after Supreme Court decision that tightens standards for content-based regulations. So what do? We do what grown-ups do in government. We protect speech. And we protect safety. Bottom line. That means we don't write laws that say begging is illegal, but we do enforce rules against blocking sidewalks, approaching vehicles in travel lanes, intimidating people, threatening if people don't give, touching people, or following the people because they didn't give. Disorderly conduct of any sort. Separate the person from the behavior. A person can be homeless and still be respectful. I've seen a lot of them. I've been around. I walked the streets lately. I've been talking to a lot of homeless people. They're very respectful. A person can be housed and still be dangerous, though. The law should focus on behavior. Are you threatening? Are you obstructing? Are you creating a roadway hazard? Or are you violating some other type of rules? Like sanitation or whatever. If that answer is yes, the city acts consistently. Treat mental health like the serious public issue it is. This is huge. Some of the most frightening streets encounter residents described aren't about poverty. They're about instability. Someone who clearly has hallucinating visions. Someone who's screaming. Someone who's walking into traffic or acting erratically. That doesn't mean we demonize anyone. It means we build the system we've been avoiding. Crisis response team. Stability. I can't speak with the fall that I had last year. I'm sorry. Some words have a hard time coming across. Addiction treatment pathways. Case management. Supportive housing options. And accountability when someone refuses help and chooses harmful conduct. Because here's the question I want to ask, honestly. Who are we not protecting when we ignore dangerous street conditions? We're not protecting the person itself in crisis. We're not protecting the drivers who are in panic or what they may do because they're in panic. We're not protecting the pedestrians who get hurt. We're not protecting the kids who see something no child should see. We're not protecting the waitresses walking to her car after her late shift. The elderly residents trying to navigate downtown. The business owners trying to keep the lights on. And I want to connect this to something Americans claim to have value. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That promise isn't exclusive. It is not only for one group. It applies to everyone. It includes the residents who wants to feel safe walking, the worker who wants to do their job without fear, and the visitors who want to enjoy the city without fear. Compassion doesn't mean the mentally unstable wins at the expense of everyone else. Compassion means we create a system that doesn't abandon them while also not abandoning the public at large. What does this balance of providence approach look like? Well, let's see the framework. A safety first roadways. Strictly enforced. No solicitation in travel lanes, rules, prioritizing the intersections and corridors where it's most dangerous. Public space management, consistent rules on camping, obstruction, trash, sanitation, paired with real alternatives, shelter, storage, bathrooms, outreach. Street outreach with teeth, not just here's a pamphlet, but going engagement and clear expectations. We will help you, but we will not allow dangerous conduct. Crisis response, co-response, or dedicated crisis teams when behavior signals mental health crisis, so police aren't the only tool available. Accountability for aggressive behavior. If someone threatens or harms others, that's not a lifestyle, that's a crime. And the city must respond. That balance of service and standards. So let's recap today, Providence. We talked about historical public health lessons, about cholera in the 1800s showed when sanitation breakdowns can do, and why cleanliness remains essential in city life. Safety and well-being, roadways, panhandling, and aggressive approaches can create a real hazard and real fear. The economic and social impact when people feel unsafe or unease. Business and events and community life suffer. Rights and responsibility, free speech matters, but so does the community's right to safety, and the city can pursue lawful content solutions. And here's my bottom line. Providence can be a compassionate city without being a lawless city. We can have a heart and a backbone. We can protect people in need and protect the public's right to safety. At the same time, welcoming a community of everybody. If you're listening right now and you've got thoughts, truly, I want to hear them. Share your perspectives. Share your experiences. Talk to your neighbors. This is a citywide conversation, and it is not going away until we stop it. Thanks for tuning in to English for Providence Motor Show. Till next time, stay safe, stay engaged, and take care of each other. Thank you.